the second. All these 9 techniques are concerned with breath. As breath turns from down to up, and again as breath curves from up to down, through both these turns realize the same, but with a slight difference. The emphasis is not now on the gap, but on the turning. Outgoing, ingoing breath, they make a circle. Remember, these are not 2 parallel lines. We always think of them as 2 parallel lines. Breath going in and breath going out. We think these are 2 parallel lines. They are not. Breath going in is half the circle. Breath going out is other half of the circle. So understand first, breath in and out creates a circle. They are not parallel lines, because parallel lines never meet anywhere. Secondly, the breath coming in and the breath going out are not 2 breaths, 1 breath. The same breath which comes in goes out. So it must have a turn inside. It must turn somewhere. There must be a point where the incoming breath becomes outgoing. This turn. Why? Why such emphasis on turning? Because Shiva says, as breath turns from down to up, and again as breath curves from up to down, through both these turns realize. Very simple. But he says, realize the turn, and you will realize the self. Why turn? If you know driving, you know gears. Each time you change a gear, you have to pass through the neutral gear, which is not a gear at all. From first gear you move to second, or from second to third. Always you have to move through the neutral gear. That neutral gear is the turning point. In that turning point, the first gear becomes the second becomes the third. When your breath goes in and turns out, it is in a middle gear. Otherwise it cannot turn out. It passes the neutral territory. In that neutral territory you are neither a body nor a soul, neither physical nor mental. Because physical is a gear of your being, mental is another gear of your being. You go on moving from gear to gear. But you must have a neutral gear where neither you are a body nor a mind. In that neutral gear you simply are. Existence, pure, simple. Unembodied, with no mind. That's why emphasis on turn. Man is a machine, and a big, very complicated machine. You have many gears in your body, many gears in the mind. You are not aware of your great mechanism. But you are a great machine. And it is good that you are not aware, otherwise you will go mad. It is such a great machine. Scientists say that if we have to create a factory just parallel to human body, it will require 4 square miles of land. And the noise will be such that 100 square mile land will be disturbed by it. It is a great mechanical device, the greatest. You have millions and millions of cells. Each cell is an alive soul. You are a big city. 7 crore. That is 70 million cells. That is 70 million citizens in you. And the whole city is running very silently, smoothly. Every moment the mechanism is working. It is very complicated. These techniques will be related at many points with your mechanism of the body and your mechanism of the mind. But always the emphasis will be on those points where suddenly you are not part of the mechanism. Remember this. Suddenly you are not part of the mechanism. There are moments when you change gears. For example, in the night, when you drop into sleep, you change gears. Because for the day, for waking consciousness, you need a different mechanism. A different part of the mind functions. When you drop into sleep, that part becomes non-functioning. Another part of the mind begins to function. And there is a gap, interval, a turning, a gear is changed. A rhythm, a different movement. Different chemicals will have to be released in the body. The whole gland system will have to change. You have become a different man when you are angry. A car is standing. You start it. Don't put it in any gear. Let it be in the neutral. It will go on purring, vibrating, trembling. But it cannot move. It will get hot. That's why when you are angry and you cannot do something, you will get hot. The mechanism is working to run and do something, and you are not doing, you will get hot. You are a mechanism, of course, not only the mechanism, you are more. But the more has to be found. When you get in a gear, everything changes inside. When you change the gear, there is a turning. Shiva says, as breath turns down to up, and again as breath curves from up to down, through both these turns realize. Be aware at the turn, but it is a very short, very minute observation will be needed. And we are just without any observing capacity. We cannot observe anything. If I say to you, observe the flower, this flower I give to you, observe it. You cannot observe it. For a single moment you will see it, and then you will begin to think something else. It may be about the flower, but it will not be the flower. You may think about the flower, how beautiful it is, you have moved. Now the flower is no more in your observation. Your field has changed. You may say it is red, it is blue, white, you have moved. Observation means remaining with no verb, with no word, with no verbalization, with no bubbling inside, just remaining with. If you can remain with a flower for 3 minutes, completely, with no movement of the mind, the thing will happen. The beneficence. You will realize. But we are not at all observers. We are not aware. We are not alert. We cannot pay attention to anything. We just go on jumping. This is part of our heritage, monkey heritage. Our mind is just the growth of the monkey mind. So the monkey moves on, goes on jumping from here and there. The monkey cannot sit. That's why Buddha insisted so much on just sitting without any movement. Because then the monkey mind is not allowed to go on its way. In Japan, they have a particular type of meditation they call Zazen. The word Zazen in Japanese only means just sitting, doing nothing. But no movement is to be allowed. One is just sitting like a statue, dead, not moving at all. But there is no need to sit like a statue for years together. If you can observe your breath turns without any movement of the mind, you will enter. You will enter into yourself or into the beyond within. Why these turnings are so important? They are important because on turnings, the breath leaves you to move in a different direction. It was with you when it was coming in. It will be again with you when it will be going out. But on the turning point, it is not with you and you are not with it. In that moment, breath is different from you and you are different from it. If breathing is life, then you are dead. If breathing is your body, then you are no body. If breathing is your mind, then you are no mind in that moment. I wonder whether you have observed it or not. If you stop your breath, mind stops suddenly. If you stop just now your breath, mind stops suddenly. Mind cannot function. A sudden stoppage into breath and mind stops. Why? Because they are joined. Only a moving breath is joined with the mind, with the body. A non-moving breath disjoined. Then you are in the neutral gear. The car is running. The power is running. The car is making a noise, is ready to go forward, but it is not in the gear. So the body of the car and the mechanism of the car are not joined. The car is divided into two. It is ready to move, but the moving mechanism is not joined with it. The same happens when breath takes a turn. You are not joined with it. In that moment you can become easily aware of who you are. What is this being? What is this to be? Who is inside this house of the body? Who is the master? Or am I just the house? Or is there some master also? Or am I just the mechanism? Or something else also penetrates this mechanism? In that turning gap, Shiva says, realize. He says, just be aware of the turning and you become a realized soul.